Hey guys, Omni here. I just got back from seeing Barbie and I have officially concluded Barbenheimer weekend. I watched Oppenheimer yesterday and we just crossed off Barbie, and to have two of these major heavy hitters back to back in the same weekend is just astounding. You know, cinema goers are eating good this weekend, and both of these movies are stellar and in very different ways. These movies are like in almost every way, shape, and form just complete opposites of one another, but they're both just mastercraft films. I think this is probably the most fun I've had watching a film this year, and definitely the most I've laughed in a theater all year long. And at the same time, while being absurd and hilarious, it has this heart that it is wearing on its sleeve every step of the way that just sucks you right into it. There's so many moments throughout this movie that just really kind of hit you pretty hard. I never got full on into tears or anything like that, but this movie had me right on the edge many times throughout it, man. But there's always this kind of like levity in the background of it, this elevated absurdity to just this idea of Barbie land, this idea of the Kens and Barbies, and the juxtaposition between this fantasy reality and the real world that just kind of always kind of pulls you back at the end to kind of keep you from steeping too deep into the existential crisis at the core of it all. And it's just a damn good time at the end of the day. And it's got such a strong message at the end that I feel like a lot of people are going to take the wrong thing away from this, because it has a very exaggerated outlook on reality, especially when put through the lens of Barbie Land, and then the little taste and glimpse that we get of the real world in this film. And I think some people I've already seen it, are exuding huge amounts of small PP energy. People went into this apparently expecting it to not be about female empowerment in any kind of way, or feminism in any kind of way. And it's like, anybody who walking away from this movie and thinking this movie hates men didn't pay attention to the movie, especially by the end of it. But this movie is just irreverent with its love for the female experience. And also, it doesn't skirt away from the trials and tribulations of that experience, which, if you have your eyes open at all in the real world, these struggles exist. Margot Robbie is phenomenal in this. Like, she acts her ass off every step of the way, and she just gets to the core of this idea, because this movie really does, in a way, both deconstruct the concept and idea of the stereotypical Barbie, what Barbie was originally released and intended to do, and how that idea has kind of evolved over time, but also it is a celebration of that idea and what it can mean now. It's just so moving in so many ways. And, you know, then you have the juxtaposition with that, with Ken, played by Ryan Gosling, Simu Liu, Ncuti Gatwa, and Kingsley Ben-Adir, and all these people, man. Like, the Kens they're just like so much fun. I was like laughing my ass off. He is the standout, honestly, to this. Margot Robbie is fantastic. Do not get me wrong, but the second you see Ryan Gosling, like, he just exudes nothing but Kenergy, man. And you only know what that means once you've experienced it. And then you have like Michael Cera, who I thought was going to be a one-off joke, who kind of became a little more regular than I expected, who I really found myself, I think he was one of my favorite characters in this film, man. I'm not even going to lie. There's a lot of recognizable like iconography if you are familiar with this line at all, or grew up in its era of just like when it was just popping off. The art and production design of this film is top tier. The sets in this are gorgeous. Like, I hope that these were practical sets, man. I know a lot of it had to have been, but my God, they made this world look so good. There's so much just authenticity to the legacy of the Barbie brand that is brought to life in this. Though I didn't see that Jeep I was talking to you guys about if you were in the live stream. I didn't see it. I didn't see it at once. The music, the sound design is great. The cinematography is fantastic. The direction is on point. This movie has heart. It has energy. It has the emotion. It has comedy. It's got everything at its core. And again, I just don't understand like how you can come out of this movie without a smile on your face. Like I don't see it. There's only a few things that stand out as like nitpicks for me. And that's just like there are two characters that enter into the film that I don't remember actually being in the trailer, but they are core characters in the story. There's an arc with these characters. One of them specifically, there's like a point in the movie where it's like there's like a switch that gets flipped and their arc is over. They 180 almost on a dime. So it's not like a smooth, gradual transition, though there is an argument that can be made, I guess, logistically as to why that happens, but I would have liked to have seen like a more gradual transition there. I'm trying to avoid spoilers for anybody that hasn't seen the film, so that's why this is very vague. The other criticism that I had is that I think like once we get to like the last 5 or 10 minutes, the cinematography gets not as interesting. It just turns into shot reverse shot for pretty much the last 5-10 minutes of the film. Obviously this movie wasn't necessarily, its voice isn't made for me. Just because it's not directed or made for me doesn't mean it's excluding me. And I know a lot of people are gonna feel that way, but I gotta say, like, I was happy to like just hear the reactions from the other women in the audience. You know, I went and saw this with my girlfriend and like within 5 minutes, she was in tears. And let me tell you, that was just the beginning for her. You know, I was getting misty throughout the film, man. It was really hitting her. And there's still so much of this film that I found so relatable from my perspective. You know, this movie doesn't keep us at arm's length. It welcomes us in. And if you can't laugh at yourself, I think you're just taking the world and life too seriously, and you need to relax a little bit. If we can't laugh at ourselves, we don't have any right to laugh at anybody else. You know, it's just common sense to me. I've just seen some people just really upset about this, the stance this movie took. Like, come on, man, loosen up. And if you're paying attention at all throughout the movie, you can see how the Kens and the Barbies are both victims of the world they've been isolated to. And it's a flip and a weird, like, Twilight Zone kind of mirror of our world, but again, like everything else, exaggerated. Like they talk about this and it feeds into the final act and what the actual turning point and closing message is all about. And I can tell you by the same things I've seen online from the people really kind of coming hard on the film, just tells me that they completely missed that. And I feel like this goes without saying. This is also not saying that if you didn't like the film, like genuinely didn't like the film, that you're wrong or anything like that. But I'm talking specifically about certain groups of people have been missing the whole point together and think this movie is attacking them and out to get them and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, no. But yeah, man, I had a damn good time with the movie. What did you guys think? If you've seen it, let me know your thoughts down below. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. Hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you're not already. And before you go, I want to shout out our channel legends: Benny, Sharon, Ryan, Karen, Yorick, Coruscant, Margaret Grace, Melita, Robert Anguiano, Jeffrey Hale, M. Sephiroth, Jake Cantrell, and Eric Official. Thank you guys so much for continued support. But that's it for this video, guys. And make sure to get up that Kinergy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everybody.